The medical world is full of tales of the bizarre, ranging from rare, mysterious diseases to medical anomalies. Today's list will focus on 10 of these fascinating stories. If you really like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. In 10th position we have green blood patient. Remember Mr. Spock and his green Vulcan blood in Star Trek? Apparently, it can happen. In October 2005, at St. Paul's Hospital in Vancouver, doctors were inserting an arterial line into a 42-year-old patient to relieve pressure in his legs. It was done after he fell asleep in a kneeling position. They started to see dark green blood trickle out of the patient instead of the usual bright red. The initial diagnosis of the doctors is methemoglobin, a dangerous condition in which the hemoglobin in blood can't bind to oxygen. Analysis of the samples taken from the patient revealed another condition called sulfhemoglobinemia, a rare condition where hydrogen sulfide combines with ferric ions in blood to form sulfhemoglobin, which causes the blood to turn dark green. According to the doctors, the disorder can be triggered by excessive doses of medications containing sulfonamides. The disorder usually goes away with red blood cell turnover, although blood transfusions may be needed in extreme cases. In 9th position we have woman with 2 sets of DNA. When Karen Keegan, a 52-year-old Boston teacher, needed a kidney transplant, her 3 sons were tested if they are acceptable donors. Soon the tests revealed that 2 of Keegan's sons did not match Keegan's genetic profile. Further tests showed that Keegan has chimerism, a condition where 2 fraternal twins grow in the womb but the first twin absorbs the other twin, making the resulting embryo contain 2 different sets of DNA, oftentimes in different parts of the body. To prove that Keegan is indeed the boy's mother, doctors began tracking the second DNA set in her body, and found it in her thyroid gland. In 8th position we have mysterious case of Natalie Adler. A young woman from Melbourne, Australia, is the victim of an extremely rare disorder that left her practically blind 3 days out of every 6. Her eyes will suddenly close involuntarily and she cannot open them until 3 days later when it will close again. It first started one Sunday morning when she was 11-years-old. She had just contracted a sinus and staph infection and woke up with swollen eyes. After that, the condition started. At first the clamping of the eyes occurred randomly, but after a while it began following a cycle. Hundreds of eye specialists run tests on Adler, but couldn't find a direct cause or a cure for the disorder. For 2 years, however, doctors treated Adler using Botox injections on her face, making her see 5 days out of 6, but the treatment no longer works. In 7th position we have a pencil in her head. Margaret Wegner, after suffering numerous headaches and nosebleeds for 55 years, finally underwent surgery on August 2007. What was the surgery for? To remove a 3-inch pencil that was lodged in Wegner's head after a childhood accident when she was 4. Due to lack of technology and fear of irreversibly damaging Wegner's head, doctors delayed the removal of the pencil for more than 5 decades, until the doctors found the exact location of the pencil in her head and safely took most of it out. This was something unique because the trauma was so old, said Dr. Hans Beckbaum, an ear, nose and throat specialist at Berlin's Park Clinic Weissensee, who pinpointed the location of the pencil. She shouldn't suffer any longer, he said. In 6th position we have girl who laughed nonstop. Xu Pingwei, a 12-year-old girl from Chongqing, started laughing nonstop after developing fever when she was just 8 months old. Because of the mysterious condition, the girl has lost the ability to speak at 2 years old and can only communicate through giggling. The cause of the disease is still a mystery. Although doctors said that it might have been caused by damage to the frontal lobe due to the fever, specialists are currently testing the theory. In 5th position we have impaled with a faucet. Yi Zhao, a 57-year-old from Chongqing in China, was rushed into the emergency room after accidentally impaling his eye socket with a bathroom faucet. At the hospital, the faucet made it impossible to perform a CT scan. A plumber was called to remove a foot of pipe jutting out of his eye, but it didn't work. Impatient Zhao decided to remove the faucet himself with the doctor's guidance. Miraculously, there was little damage to the eye, and no damage to the brain, only fractures to the facial bones. In 4th position we have a man who died 100 times. 54-year-old Jim McClatchy of Atlanta was rushed to the hospital by his wife after she found him on the floor of their house unconscious. Doctors who were trying to revive him ended up shocking his heart 100 times, as the patient kept having repeated cardiac arrests due to an unknown virus. In the first hour alone, McClatchy's heart stopped an incredible 50 times. He had to be defibrillated so frequently that he suffered second-degree burns to his chest. Shockingly, He survived the ordeal and he was back at work in no time flat. In third position, we have heart recipient. 63-year-old William Sheridan of New York was just recovering from a heart transplant when he inexplicably developed a passion for art and started making beautiful sketches. He found out later that his organ donor was an artist. This odd phenomenon, called cellular memory, is the theory that the brain is not the only part of the body that contains memory and human traits, and that other organs such as the heart and hands can contain them too. Several studies have focused on this phenomenon, a notable one being Dr. Paul Pearsall's study entitled Changes in Heart Transplant Recipients That Parallel the Personalities of Their Donor, which was published in Near-Death Studies magazine in 2002. In second position, we have 8-limbed girl. Lakshmi Tatma, a girl born a conjoined twin in India in 2005, with her parasitic twin's headless body joined to her at her pelvis, giving her the appearance of having 4 arms and 4 legs. Lakshmi has a rare condition called ischupagos, where her twin has stopped developing in the womb and the remaining fetus absorbed the underdeveloped twin's body. Aside from 8 limbs, Lakshmi has 2 spines, 4 kidneys and 2 stomach and chest cavities. That is, until the toddler underwent a successful 27-hour surgery at a hospital in Bangalore to remove the extra parts. She was named after the many-armed Hindu goddess of wealth, that is Lakshmi. In first position, we have the miracle walker. Mark Chenoweth gets the top spot of this list for his amazing story. Chenoweth, who has spent the past 10 years in a wheelchair, was born with spina bifida, a crippling disease that left him unable to walk. In 1998, he consulted his doctor about taking scuba diving lessons, which the doctor immediately forbade. Against his doctor's orders, he took a holiday to Menorca and managed to persuade a diving center to give him scuba lessons. Diving to a depth of 55 feet, after he surfaced, he found out that he can walk again. 3 days later, his legs lost sensation once more, so he immediately went back to scuba diving. After a while, he noticed that the deeper he gets, the longer the time he can walk after. Due to this, Chenoweth now uses his wheelchair only twice a year. It is not exactly known why this happened, but one theory suggests that the rich mix of oxygen in the aqualungs divers used affected the nerve cells afflicted by the spina bifida, making them temporarily work. If you enjoyed the content of this video, click the subscribe button so you can receive more content like this every week.